Hello, this is WUPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. This is the Jack and Dom radio show here today. I just want to let everyone know that the opinions said on this show do not represent the opinions of this radio station or the university. And if you so choose, you're able to get the recording of this show on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We are also now on social media, so if you so choose, you can currently find us on Twitter and Facebook. Just look up the Jack and Dom Radio Show, and if there are any particular topics you would like us to talk about, definitely let us know on there. That being said, good afternoon, everyone. Jack, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Man, very tired. I don't know. I feel a lot more tired, a lot more sluggish today. I think it's the weather. I think it's, how... just being burnt out from the semester. The semester, I think, was a few weeks away. If we're not including Thanksgiving break, 3 weeks left? 4 weeks left?
Something like that. Yeah, we're getting closer.
Yeah, we're getting closer. Some stuff to talk about. I usually don't go out to the bars usually, but I did the other day and got to watch the World Series game, the World Series Game 7. We'll talk about that later in the show. But yeah, I think first topic to talk about today, which this result wasn't necessarily surprising, although I will say the amount of offense production that Northern Michigan football had was a little surprising. Losing to number one Ferris State 70-35. I legitimately thought that we wouldn't get 14 points. I was so confident that we weren't going to get that many points that I almost went on social media and said that if Northern Michigan football scores 21 points, I will jump in the lake.
Well, good thing you did.
Good thing I didn't. But that being said,
what an awful game.
35 against the number one team in the country.
Sure, but you gave up 70, and that entire defense better be running suicides the entire week.
Yeah.
That I don't care that it's number one team. I don't care that they've done it before. 70 points against any opponent ever, especially when you are a running football team and burn the clock, is simply unacceptable.
Yeah. I did listen to the game. I know you were watching the game, and I was in the middle of door dashing when I get a call from you.
I was just listening. I wasn't.
And I know you don't call me often, so I knew it was a big deal.
Yeah, we were winning against Ferris, and then it fell apart, and they put up 35 straight points and didn't look back. In typical NMU fashion.
Exactly.
It happens without fail in every single game. We're all tired of the Shane spiel. I know last week we had some people encouraging caution on Shane, but my opinions. You've heard them before. I'm blatantly sick of it. I didn't get the chance to watch the game, so I can't comment as much on specific play calling and things like that.
I saw bits and pieces on my phone. I have the Flow Sports app.
I do know that the passing the football was sloppy again. They threw a couple there
were a few
bad interceptions.
Yeah, but there were a lot of those.
Ferris got really good field position consistently. The punting game was off its game, or even the kickoffs. Ferris was able to get solid return yardage on those, which you don't want to see. And obviously the defense couldn't do anything right. Ferris pretty much scored at will from start to finish.
The number one team, a good team.
Yeah, I understand they're the number one team, but again, it's 70 points. Mm-hmm. You can double check me on this, but I think the last time we gave up 70 points was in year one. We lost to them, 70-0 or 77-0?
I would have to double check.
When we had that record loss where I think we gave the most points of all time for us.
Giving up?
Yeah, I think this was 2 years ago. Shane's first year was 77 points, I believe.
Well, let me see.
I'll check on that. The point being, it's been a minute since we've given up 70, and it's rough.
73-14 against Grand Valley. 78-3 against
Exactly. So, this is, you can check. I don't think we gave up 70 at all last year, but barring us giving up 70 last year, this would be the third time we've given up 70-plus points, and I believe Michigan Tech in 2023 was 60-plus, so that's 4 games of 60-plus. Were there any last year of 60 or 70?
It was 63-14.
Saginaw was 60.
55-9 Ferris.
Okay, keep going. So 5 games was 60 plus, 3 games was 70 plus. I don't care how hard the opponent is. That's just not something you should be doing.
Yeah.
And they've had the same coordinators every year here. Like, they haven't made any changes. The play calling and the scheming has been the same. The personnel, like, there's been some changes, but it's been relatively the same on the defensive side of the football. Or somehow, like, last I checked, we were 106 in the Macy ratings, which I think is crazy. I don't know how we're that high.
I believe that's because the games are closer.
Yeah, I get that, but I just consistently, every time I watch, listen, even if I'm just looking at the score, I get frustrated by this team's inability to do anything right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, you beat Roosevelt, the team that still has the same players I did when they were in D3 and are very much still a D3 caliber program.
They were NAIA.
Okay, basically D3. I know not officially D3, but like the quality of competition was D3 caliber of the NAIA. So we are playing a D3 caliber team still.
Yes. So,
and they beat us last year too. So
the website's not loading. Anyway,
I can't linger on it anymore because there's just so much going wrong with this team.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I work the home games, but I'm very thankful to say I won't be here when we play Wayne State. I'll be in Wisconsin, so I don't have to watch NMU football anymore this year, and that is a win.
I will be at the Wayne State game, not on behalf of the TV station that I work at, but actually on behalf of Northern to operate the Jumbotron.
Oh, awesome.
Because they are... Like, I am essentially
you mean the scoreboard? The
Jumbotron.
Yeah,
the not the scoreboard, the Jumbotron. There's 2 different people. The scoreboard is a separate guy that just has a series of buttons.
I did not know that the Jumbotron was separate. Where even is the Jumbotron? Is it like the...
The Jumbotron's on the opposite side of the...
Oh, you're talking about the
big TV, the Jumbotron.
Oh, okay. I almost forget that's there, because all it does is play hype videos that I ignore because we have no business making hype videos. That'll be fun, though, I think. Enjoy watching us lose by 50 plus to it. Well, actually, Wayne State doesn't have a win. And I still
No, they don't. And I'm trying to load
we're gonna probably
the web page.
We'll gift them their first GLAC win, I'm sure. So
it is possible. Yeah, that's the thing.
We could win.
Possible. It could be a win against Wayne State. I will be there running the Jumbotron. And then I'll be at the volleyball game immediately afterwards because they're very low people. Right. So that's why I was asked to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough weekend, I think, especially if we lose to a team with 0 wins. So we'll see.
Next week on the 8th, we play Davenport.
We're going to get crushed. But I think for the Wayne State game, you'll be here and I won't. So rather than me commenting on specific plays, specific scheming, things like that, I think you'll get to.
And although it officially. I'll mention it this way. I don't condone destruction of property in any way.
Stop.
Or support. I think that's what condone means, right?
I don't think.
No. What I'm saying is there are rumors. I keep hearing rumors that if there's a home win, especially in the last week of the season, that will not just the whole student section and everyone will rush the field, but also take down one of the uprights and throw it in Lake Superior.
Well, I won't be here, and I don't condone that. But
the thing is, I won't be a part of it because I have to immediately head to the Vendiment for the volleyball game.
Well, 1, I think we're going to lose that game. 2, I don't think we have any business tearing down uprights if we beat a team with 0 wins.
I mean, I've seen schools do crowd rushes.
Yeah, but not when you're ending a losing streak. You upset a team. That's not an upset.
I know, but it's a first. It's a win, though. It's a first win, home win in 3 years.
I don't think you could. I don't think that's worth throwing uprights into Lake Superior.
It's mob mentality at that point. You think mob mentality is logical?
No, but at the same time, we're definitely losing that game. So don't even bother getting your hopes up.
Okay, you literally just said a few minutes ago we could win this game. Now you're saying
sure,
it's definitely
cool. Hypothetically, and I could also hypothetically be on the moon tomorrow, but it's not going to happen. I could get up in a spaceship right now and go. Okay, we're not going to win that game. And if we do win that game, we have no business storming the field.
It took us 3 days to get there.
I know, but we have no business storming the field if we win that game.
It doesn't mean it won't happen.
No, I know, but I'm saying it's embarrassing if we do it.
I know. But
if we beat, for example, if our first home win was like Michigan Tech or Ferris or somebody actually good, I would condone it.
yeah,
But what are they now? 0-8 Wayne State team? I see no reason to storm the field. 0-7, whatever. So it might happen. I just think we're going to lose, and even if we do end up winning, I really don't understand the point. Because like when you field rush, it's supposed to be against a good. Yeah, they're 0-9, and they're playing Roosevelt. So, you know,
I mean, I don't know.
now, here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I don't know about how the tiebreakers would work. If Wayne State beat us and Roosevelt beat Wayne State, would we still finish last in the conference?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Because it'd be a three-way tie for the bottom.
Do you think it's point differential?
I don't know.
Do you think
You should probably check the GIAC rule book.
I don't know how to
see if you can find the GIAC rule book while I talk about hockey. Okay, so hockey drops 2 games to Augustana on the road in their CCHA openers for the season. They are now 0-10 on the year. They dropped those games 2-1 and 3-1 respectively. We will face Tech at Michigan Tech in Houghton on Friday the 7th. And then we will face we'll host them here at NMU on the 8th. I will be working that game, so I'm very, very excited for the atmosphere that will have. So we'll see. It'd be cool to get our first one of the season against Tech, but the hockey team has not impressed me as much as I thought so far. I was really hoping going into games against Augustana in the CCHA against a not top-ranked opponent that NMU could maybe make some noise and prove to the experts that they are worthy of moving up the CCHA after their last place finish last year. But I'm not seeing it yet. You know, maybe we beat Tech and we turn a corner and something starts happening. But other than the goalies, who Oyang Ashton, the true freshman from Canada, has been excellent. And, you know, you've got Tobias Pitka maybe and a couple other guys that have played well. Mm-hmm. I'm just not seeing as much as I was hoping.
So if there's a tie, head-to-head tie, it's, well, it goes in order of head-to-head result. So
So that would be tied.
That would be tied. So the record against common conference opponents.
That would also be tied.
Record against highest-ranked common opponent. If still tied, the team's records against the highest-ranked common opponent are compared. Then the next highest, and so on.
So, but that's tied, because the only wins they have are against each other. Although
point differential in conference games. Some conferences use capped scoring margins.
That might happen.
To avoid incident.
But Roosevelt would be ahead of, I think, us and Wayne State, because Roosevelt has an out-of-conference win.
If all else fails, coin toss or random draw.
I think it would be point differential.
That would really only apply to this. This is really only apply to if you're the top 2 schools in the conference. So we're very realistically
right, but we're very realistically looking at a point where off of point differential we could be last
again. Yes,
I don't think we will be, because I think we'll keep it close against Wayne State.
Yeah,
but there's a very real chance if Wayne State beats Roosevelt, we're last again. It's just a laughingstock. And back to hockey, you know, it's not a laughingstock there yet. But I'm just disappointed by the lack of progress I'm seeing. I watched the game against Augustana. Problem is they look good for a period or two, and then they just lose control.
They run out of gas.
The floodgates open, and they don't look good. Like, they were up 1-0 against Augustana after 2 periods. And I was like, okay, game 2, like, this is going to be our first one of the season. Like, I'm liking what I'm seeing. And they lose 3-1. And she utterly obliterated in the third period.
Kaboom.
And it continues to be because they leave... The defense leaves the goalie hanging is part of the problem. Offensively, they just don't have a lot of guys who can score. And, you know, I get it. He got, I think, what was it, like a 5 or 6 year contract for a reason, because we understood that this program would take time to build.
Yeah.
But I was hoping we'd see some incremental progress. And, like, yes, I'm happy with the moral victories of being tied against Michigan State after 2 periods. I'm happy we took Colorado College to, you know, overtime and lost. Like, those are great moral victories. But moral victories are a great starting point, but eventually that has to translate into wins.
Yes.
And, like, I'm giving him patience because, you know, this program was in rough shape.
Yep.
We intentionally gave him a contract extension. Unlike football, where it's D2 and it's kind of an even playing field-ish, other than Grand Valley and Ferris, because NIL is not as big of a factor. Mm-hmm. Division I hockey, NIL is a huge factor, and we are severely lacking in terms of money for facilities, money for players, money for coaching. Like, out of the CCHA, we easily have the smallest budget out of those teams. think the only team you could make an argument that has a budget even close to the size of ours is Bemidji. St. Thomas is a private school. Augustana has very few Division I sports.
And so do we.
Minnesota State Mankato is one of the best programs in the country, consistently. Michigan Tech has bigger boosters and funding than we do and wins more, so they get a lot of more money from that. Ferris is bad, but they're a huge school. Bowling Green is also a huge school. Bowling Green is D1 across the board. Like, they have money. We don't. And so I think correctly, NMU understands that we are kind of underdogs in terms of that battle for money. And so they're preaching patience on this hockey team, and I'm okay with that for now. I'm just hoping we can see some wins in the near future, because another 4-win season would not be acceptable. Look, I can understand losing your first 2 CCHA games on the road. Like, this is a young team. You lost your 8 games against ranked opponents. Like, that was to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you don't at least play competitively against Tech, and you can look at the schedule. I don't know who we play after Tech. But we got to get results starting then, or it's going to go downhill quickly. As you're looking, we play Bemidji. So you got to get results against Bemidji.
It says RV. What does this mean?
Ranked vote. So Michigan Tech is not in the top 20, but they have votes in the national polls.
Okay.
So it's going to be a tough one against a very good Michigan Tech team. I may or may not be at the away game. We'll see. I'm waiting to see if I get tickets for that or not.
Have you been to a Michigan Tech away game?
I have.
Okay.
I went last year. It's a vibe.
I was going to say, how was the atmosphere?
I mean, the atmosphere there is better because they're winning, our student section is empty for a reason. It's because we lose every game. Michigan Tech is very energetic, and there's a lot of people there. I hate giving Michigan Tech credit, but they've got a really good hockey atmosphere and a really good arena.
I don't know if I brought this up. So I was in the stands watching the Michigan Tech NMU football game, and I actually sat next to a bunch of engineering students that go to Tech, and I actually got to ask them because it is objectively true that about 80-85% of Michigan Tech is men.
Yeah.
And so I legitimately asked them, hey, is the dating scene over there actually as bad as I hear it is? And they all said, well, the 3 of them were like, well, we all 3 of us do have girlfriends. However, we all found them outside. They were all out. They didn't go to the school.
Yeah, at least we got that.
And
over.
And they were like, yes, it is as bad as you hear. So we found our special person
that's
outside
fine.
See,
we
campus.
can't beat them at sports, but at least we have that.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to soccer. I just
gotta stab at Michigan Tech at any little thing I can.
Of course.
We gotta take the little W's,
Well, we got.
we gotta take the
volleyball.
We got a lot of L's.
Volleyball beat them last week, so
that is cool. Yep, that's a big W.
Unfortunately, they beat us in pretty much every other sport.
Well,
most
basketball this year,
we'll see.
think we're
top 2 teams in the conference.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay. Men's and women's soccer played a doubleheader on Friday and then a doubleheader on Sunday. By doubleheader, I mean 1 women's game, 1 men's game back to back.
Senior night. Or senior day.
Senior night was on Sunday, so we'll get to that. But on Friday, the women's team won 5-1 against Roosevelt. Roosevelt is the last place team in the women's GLIAC, tied with Michigan Tech. So
wait, can you say that again?
Yeah, Michigan Tech's in last in women's soccer.
Ooh.
So we have soccer over them at least in women's. But the women won 5-1 in a game they needed to win. They've clinched a spot in the GLIAC playoffs, but they will unfortunately be on the road for those games. It's been a pretty disappointing season for them. They've got 1 game remaining, but you hope maybe they can get some momentum in the playoffs and potentially challenge some of those.
Is women's soccer finally gonna win a game postseason?
No, absolutely not, because they are currently 5th or 6th, I think, in the GLIAC, so they're not even one of the better teams in the GLIAC. We had a really good coach these past 2 years. He left. A couple of the players
he went
with him.
Loyola Chicago.
Yep. And so their program's kind of been rebuilding this year, and I think a lot of the players have just been frustrated by the fact that the team hasn't been as good as expected or as good as it has been in previous years. But it was a rebuilding year. Everybody kind of knew it. New coaching staff, like all that good stuff. So they're in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. We all know that. I think Grand Valley and SVSU are going to run away with the women's GLIAC title game appearances, but we'll see. NMU or really any other team could make noise. So we'll see who grabs that final spot if it ends up being Roosevelt or Michigan Tech. And the women will go on the road in about, I think it's a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks from now to do the GLIAC quarterfinal. For the men, they won 2-1 in a big upset against Roosevelt, courtesy of a red card early in the game. Ooh. They not only deny Roosevelt's GLIAC title chances, but they also get themselves some much-needed points and clinch a home playoff game, which is big. That I believe is October 9th at 1 p.m. So if you so choose, I would highly recommend you attend. The atmosphere at those soccer games, it's not a ton of people, but it's always a fun time.
It's going to be cold, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it'll be cold. I used to be inside a building. I put that in air quotes because it's more of a shed, but I will be there. Should be an exciting atmosphere, so we wish the men luck when they get to that point in about a week and a half from now. They still got their final game to finish up this season. And then you mentioned Senior Day. Men won 3-0 on Senior Day. Women won 1-0 against Purdue Northwestern and Parkside, respectively.
Yeah.
That is certainly exciting to see, to hear. GLIAC quarterfinals will be next Tuesday for the women, next Sunday for the men. So those are coming up quickly. And I'm really excited to see how they can do, ultimately. I think they can, especially the men, I think can make some noise in the GLIAC. So I'm excited. I think as an NMU fan, we got to root for any team that's doing well because I feel like they're few and far between in the fall. Although I will give a shout out to the women's cross country team.
They're doing very good right now.
Nothing short of spectacular. They finished.
They're currently number 12.
Yeah, they're number 12. They, I believe, finished second place at the GLIAC Championships behind perennial powerhouse Grand Valley State. And they'll be at the NCAA Midwest Regional Championship this Saturday. So once again, if you choose,
that's in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yes.
So they
raced there earlier this season, I believe, if you go up at the Lucian Rosa invite. So they were there before. They finished 4th out of 23 teams in a very competitive invite. So they look to perform well again at that atmosphere. Somebody was telling me they can only run 7 runners, so they'll have 7 runners and then a number of alternates at that competition. And then if they perform well there, which we all expect them to, given that they're 12th in the country for a reason, they would then go to the NCAA Championships on November 22nd.
Also in Kenosha,
Wisconsin. Yeah. So for the women's soccer, it's GVSU, SVSU, Parkside, Ferris, and Northern. So Northern is basically clinched a spot, but will be a road game, likely against Ferris State if they can stay ahead of Davenport. And then the men's situation is a little bit different. The men's has clinched that home playoff game, like I mentioned, which is super exciting. Northern Michigan is currently the 3 seed, so they would be hosting the number 4 seed Parkside Rangers, who I believe they just beat very recently. So,
What sport is this?
Men's soccer. So, okay. NMU will be hosting that home game. It is pretty much clinched to be in Parkside. They're against Parkside. So we're certainly looking forward to that. We always, like to host home playoff games. I feel like they're pretty rare these days, especially since football hasn't sniffed the playoffs in what seems like forever.
I feel like ever.
Well, we have years and years ago.
Well, I'm talking about conference. Like the last time NMU was good in football, I don't think the football program was in the GLIAC.
Yeah, it's been years.
I don't think it
was. But certainly exciting for the men's team to be doing decently well in the GLIAC. So we'll see, like I said, if they can make some noise in the playoffs. Okay, on the national stage, it was a tough weekend in college football for us both, as Michigan looked like amateurs against Purdue, courtesy of a Bryce Underwood fumbled into the end zone and a relative lack of a passing game. Much like the Lions, who we'll talk about in a minute, offensive play calling has been an issue. And in the case of Michigan State, which I watched live in full with my State fan friend, Michigan State loses to Minnesota in a game they absolutely should have won. I
saw some of the highlights, and I agree with you.
There were
the dumbest way possible.
Well, okay, so the way it ended was Your kicker missed multiple field goals, which
Yeah.
is why that game went to overtime at all.
Yeah.
Going to overtime, you think you get a penalty in the end zone, which I'm not being biased here. I think overturning the call was correct. He grabbed his jersey a little bit on the route, but he didn't interfere at all with the catching process, and so that is, in fact, the correct call. I know Michigan State fans are not happy about that, and I mean, that's fair. I wouldn't be either. But that was the correct call to overturn, which then put Michigan State in a position to kick the field goal, which they did. The bigger problem was the Minnesota drive, where Minnesota had a 3rd and goal from like the 5 because you'd stuffed them on the last couple plays, and they had a 3rd and goal because you had a pass interference in the end zone, which resulted in the ball being placed at the 2. So it was 3rd and goal from like the 5. And I was shocked because Minnesota's QB ran to the left in what looked like a designed QB keeper. I don't know if it's your linebacker or defensive end. I don't know Michigan State's personnel well enough to know how you run your defense. Maybe you do. But
I wish I knew.
somebody had him in the backfield, like in a 1v1 situation, grabbed his legs, and he was able to run through it, dive for the end zone in a questionable call, although, again, I agree with the decision based on the angle, dives through the end zone, gets the pylon, and scores to give Minnesota a win in a game that Michigan State really should have won. And this is after Minnesota drove down to the end zone towards the end of regulation. So a tough loss, I think you can agree.
Yep, it was very tough because, we were in the lead.
And you were so
late
close
in
to
the
your
game.
first Big Ten win of the year.
Yeah, and then it was like taken away. So something that we definitely don't feel good about.
Well,
I don't feel good about it.
I've got a
Fan
silver
base
lining
doesn't-
for you.
The fan base doesn't feel good about it. But the players and coaches don't feel good about it. What's the silver lining?
I got 2 for you.
Okay.
First, I'm going to check your schedule. Okay, so your upcoming schedule versus Penn State,
I don't think we're going to
even without James Franklin, no chance. At Iowa, no way. So your last game of the year versus Maryland is going to be your chance. I still don't think you win that game. So, like I said weeks ago on this show, I was half joking at the time, but it's becoming more and more of a reality now. You are very much in a position where you could go winless in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And, I think you as a Michigan State fan, I know you joked about meeting Michigan, but I think realistically you knew it was going to be a rough year. I know as a Michigan fan, I didn't see this coming at all, and I doubt you did either.
No, I did not see this. This is probably John Smith's last year.
Oh, yeah.
And there should be a search for a new coach. I would argue, let me pull them up
Okay,
here.
while you look for coaches, I want to mention something. I mentioned it on a previous show, so I want to see if you remember just how bad
This is
it was.
this coach is a hot take.
I know you're talking about the Ferris.
No. Let me say it, man. Oh,
I knew you were going to go there.
yeah, Tony Annese of Ferris State.
You're not going to get him.
Here's the thing. He knows how to recruit. He knows how to develop players. He works with a bunch of guys that can, recruit and develop
No,
players.
I agree. It's just you're not going to get him.
He can do a lot with a little. Like he has made an FBS caliber program Division II.
No, I know, but he's not going to you. He's going somewhere bigger.
And Michigan State can pull the money together
It's
to
not
pay
a money
to
problem.
pay it. I
just think he's
What do you
gonna-
think? What do you mean?
No,
What
he's
do you-
not going to leave that winning of a program unless he gets the perfect job, and that's not Michigan State.
I disagree.
If
No.
Penn State came calling, he'd take it, but I don't think Michigan State, with the position you're in and the resources you have. Okay,
We have a lot more resources than Ferris State.
right,
does.
but you're winning national championships almost every year there. You're not going to leave unless it's the perfect situation. Okay, I want to ask you this.
We'll offer a few $1 million
Well,
a year.
money isn't the only thing. It's winning, too. And Michigan State doesn't put you in a position to win.
I know, but
You don't really have the resources.
That's the coaches. That is the coaches and that's the coaches' responsibility.
We'll see. I think part of it is I don't think he'd want to go there, but I think part of it is I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm biased, but I don't trust Michigan State to make that hire.
Mm-hmm. Me
I
neither.
also would caution.
Me neither. I agree with you on that. I think the fact that the Board of Trustees has a little too much power when it comes to choosing a coach.
Well, they're too patient.
And that we were supposed to pick the coach of Cincinnati, now coach of Minnesota, right? Was it no Wisconsin or who?
Wisconsin, Luke.
Yeah,
Fickell.
Luke Fickell.
That would have been a terrible choice. So lucky.
I know, but at the time,
it was a great choice.
At the time, it was a great choice.
But he would have gone to Wisconsin, I think, no matter what, because of his ties to the state and the program. Okay, I mentioned this on a previous show, but I want to see if you remember. Because
Urban Meyer, I don't know.
With each week, it's becoming more and more relevant. When do you think was the last time that you had 0 conference wins? I'm going to count when you were an independent because it happened when you were an independent.
Well, then you said it was in the 1910s or 1920s.
Yeah, 1917. The last time
we were in the.
You were an independent that year.
The conference that we were in.
1917.
Is now a D3. It's a D3 conference in Michigan. The MIAC.
That was before that. MIAA.
The MIAA.
That was before that. Then you went independent. So you were independent in 1917 when you went 0-9.
Okay.
You have never, if you count actually being in a conference, because Notre Dame is an independent, but like they're in a pseudo conference because they play mostly against teams against the ACC. I think Michigan State was somewhat similar, and conferences were not really as big of a thing in the early 1900s. The last time you were in an official conference and went winless was 1958 when you went 0-5-1. Michigan State as a program in a conference has never in their history gone winless.
In a conference, yeah.
Never. You've come close. You went 1-7 in 2006 and 1-8 in 2016.
I remember those days.
Jonathan Smith is on par for not just a bad season. If you don't win one of the next 3 games, I would venture the argument that it might be the worst season in Michigan State history. Yes, you've had seasons you've only won 1 or 2 games, but never, ever in an official conference have you won 0.
And we never saw this coming in the beginning.
No.
Even you never saw.
No, I didn't. I thought you'd make a bowl game or come close. I know. But you are in danger of replicating Chester Brewer's 0-9 season. The funny part about Chester
Brewer, it sounds like a baseball.
But the funny part about Chester Brewer is you got another coach for 1918, George Gother, and then you brought back Chester Brewer for 1919. You said, we got to see more. Reminds me of
I think at the time,
anyway,
never mind.
So Michigan State is actively on pace to have its worst season of all time. Michigan beats Purdue. I don't really want to reflect on it. It was a bad game, but we won, and that's what matters. Michigan State could learn a thing or two. Okay. On the bright side for Michigan State, potentially, and I'm definitely on the bright side for Michigan because we are a basketball school as of last year. D1 college basketball starts today with number 22 Michigan State against Colgate and number 7 against Oakland. Michigan State is in a rebuilding year. You lost Jace Richardson, a number of other playmakers, but you have Tom Izzo, and Tom Izzo is practically a wizard.
He is a wizard.
He
just needs the beard and the hat and the wizard hat.
There. Maybe that was his Halloween costume this year. But
they at Michigan State they do this like I forgot what it's called. They do something every year. They do some like play or some theatric thing, and Tom Izzo is always a part of it.
That's funny.
And we need to do something like that here.
That'd be fun. But yeah. So Michigan State's in a rebuilding year. They're still ranked, partially as a result of their success from last year. But I think Michigan State they're always a contender in March. I never rule them out. But I think as far as the regular season goes, they're a middle of the pack, upper half team.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that I have bias this year, but I don't think this is the team you're going to have that's competing for a Big Ten title. Purdue is too good. Michigan is incredibly good if you look at our roster.
But we'll make the playoff. We'll make the.
Oh, of course. You'll make March, and you always make noise in March. I have no doubt.
We've gone to the playoffs, every year in the last 25,
right.
26 years?
I hate Michigan State with a passion. All of our listeners know this, and you know this. But I do tend to root for Michigan State basketball a little bit, as long as you're not playing us.
Now,
because of Tom Izzo.
Hold that thought, because it is the bottom of the hour. For those who are just joining us, this is the Jack and Dom Radio Show here on WUPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. Okay,
yeah. So I root for him a little bit, but I think Michigan State is an upper half team, like 4th or 5th place, maybe 6th. I think Michigan competes for a title. I don't think we win it. I think Purdue.
You're not crazy.
I think Purdue. Well, no, I'm not crazy. We're ranked number 7.
Oh no, I know. I'm saying you are crazy, but not in this situation.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Purdue is number one in the country for a reason. I think they will be in the Big Ten again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm surprised that their coach hasn't been poached by the NBA with his consistent success. But I think Michigan could make some noise, and I don't think I'm unrealistic to say that Michigan has very good chances of winning the Big Ten title. Dusty May with his time at FAU, and then Michigan's relatively good performance last year, where they lost to the eventual, I believe it was Auburn, who was, if I remember correctly, the national runner-ups? National runner-ups, right? Because Florida won it all against them?
I don't remember.
I think so. So we lost to the national runner-ups, who, by the way, State also lost to in the next round. They just got lucky and didn't have to play them until the Elite Eight. Regardless, successful season for us. And Michigan State last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same will happen this year. And I think it's very realistic to say that we'll finish second in the conference with a chance to compete for a conference title. We brought in the number one transfer in America. We brought in a 5-star recruit that will probably be starting, well, not like in the starting lineup, but like he'll be playing year one. We brought back some guys. We got Elliot Cadeau from North Carolina, Yaxel Landenberg, the number one transfer from UAB, a number of other guys. We got Morez Johnson, a big guy from Illinois. We got Ade Mara from UCLA. So some size, some shooters, some playmakers. Michigan will be right back up there with the best teams in college basketball. And I don't think, we're going to win a national title or anything like that. Like I'm realistic, but I do think an Elite Eight or a Final Four appearance is not out of the question. I do think, if as a Michigan State fan, I think for you, Sweet 16 appearance, I think it's a very reasonable thing for you.
Yeah, I think so too.
Michigan State, I think, would be on upset alert. If
now, this is the way too early prediction because
who do you want to take?
I still remember I think it was 2 years ago, 3 games into the NBA season, you were like, yeah, the Pistons are going to do really good.
Yeah, ice cold take.
Yeah,
you need to, before you graduate, you need to go through our old shows and get like a fiery hot takes, like clips. And an ice cold. Yeah, that'll be on the ice cold.
I should do that.
That'd be fun.
That's my homework. That's my homework before.
To get that before you graduate. Gotta be before graduation season.
Yeah.
Purdue number 1, Houston number 2, Florida 3, UConn 4, St. John's 5. My question to you is your very, very early, way too early picks. I know you don't know as much about basketball, but who do you got?
For college basketball?
Yeah, who's winning it all? Your way too early picks now that the first polls of the season have come out.
Ooh, give me Houston.
That's fair. I was thinking Houston. I will.
Houston or Duke, one of those two. I think Duke has come back.
I'll take
that their old coach retired a few years ago.
But Shire's done a good job there. I'll take UConn. But I think Michigan will be runner-ups in the Big Ten and a contender in the Elite Eight. So we'll see. Okay, the Lions lose to the Vikings. Quite frankly, it's an embarrassing game. The amount of
my coworker is going to be at me about this.
Yeah, my roommate will too.
He's a Vikings fan.
It was embarrassing on the offensive side of the ball. You had 3rd and longs consistently, and you called screenplays. Reminds me of a certain offense, NMU or AKA Michigan football. John Morton has done an awful job coordinating on that side of the ball. You are playing a Washington team without Jaden Daniels next week. If you don't put up 50 points, I want heads on a pike. You should be on top of the division at 6-2 right now.
But we're not.
We're not.
Although the division is...
The division is crazy. The Bears are better.
It's tight.
The Vikings are clearly good. They just beat us. And the Packers are always good. So...
Well, they did.
Right, they lost to Carolina, which was joyous to watch because I was in the car with the Packers fans, so it was really enjoyable as I was driving back from the Porcupine Mountains.
At least my Packer coworkers won't be able to.
Right, that's honestly a worse loss, I think, than the Vikings. But okay, I don't want to go into too much because it's frustrating losses for both those teams.
It was not a good
They will both rebound, make the playoffs. I just don't know with the amount of injuries for both teams how far they can go. Tucker Kraft is out for season, which means the Packers have lost their biggest playmaker. And for Detroit, it's the offensive line in shreds and the secondary basically on crutches. So Lions need to heal fast. Defense has been really impressive. I'm really glad. That's gone really well. So I'm super excited about that. But we really need some improvement. I think. For the offense, especially. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
A lot of good teams in the NFL lost yesterday. Some people are saying like it was a Halloween curse or something. Like,
yeah, Dan Campbell was celebrating. I don't know.
Like I'm looking at.
I don't think it matters.
I'm looking at where the teams are at. I'm looking
Bears,
at the
by the way. Bears beat the Bengals. Joe Flacco looked like prime Tom Brady, and the Bengals defense is probably worse than NMU's at this point because they got shredded.
Yeah.
But
like
the Bengals had that game won, and they gave up a 58-yard touchdown pass to a man you'll remember quite well from the PTSD he gives Michigan State fans, Colson Laughlin. So yeah, there were some big games this week. Monday night, I believe, is the Cardinals and the Cowboys, right? Yeah. So this evening, if you choose to tune in, it's going to be the Cowboys and the Cardinals. Cardinals have been my adoptive second team since Carson Palmer was having a renaissance there. It's kind of funny. The two teams I picked to root for are historically the two teams with the all-time worst winning percentage in the NFL. So apparently I went up. I root for a losing team. Let me root for two.
So I gotta show you this because okay. So here's the playoff picture. Okay.
Yeah, Detroit is barely in the playoffs.
Oh no!
The Chiefs being out.
The Chiefs are outside looking
correct, and that won't last. But it is interesting.
And the New England Patriots are number one in their division right now.
The Patriots and Colts being the best two teams in the AFC.
What year is this?
And the Broncos being third? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, they're at the top. The Broncos are in the top of the AFC West. The Colts are top of the AFC
what year are we in?
South. What year are we in? Is this 2008? 2007?
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Like, did Peyton Manning and prime Tom Brady come back?
The Bills look good again. It's going to be an interesting year. I think it's anybody's Super Bowl this year. I think the Eagles have to be the wide favorites, especially with the 3 trades they've already made to improve that team. If the Lions and the Packers want to stay in contention, it is critical that they
the
get
Chiefs
some playmakers.
are third in their division.
Yeah, the Chiefs are on the outside looking in. Detroit is barely in.
Well, we're number 2 right now.
The Bears are 5-3, which is crazy.
Yes.
But it's a really tight window this year, and so Detroit needs to lock the heck in.
But regardless of whatever year, the New York Jets are still in the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. It's a bit of a shorter segment because there's a little bit less going on, I think, in the world. But as you were saying, the Dodgers beat the Jays in the pennant.
Oh, okay.
The World Series, the pennant, I think, is the older way of saying it. But once again, money wins.
11.
Money wins championships.
Well, these two teams couldn't be
more different.
Different maybe in style, but skill and maybe like the team who wanted it more. So even because the
series was even, yes.
But
I was surprised by that because on paper the Dodgers blow the Blue Jays away.
And yet
they almost won, yeah.
They were literally inches.
Oh, yeah, at that home plate slide, they should have won. If he would have ran standing straight up, I'm confident he would have scored and won him the game. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, though, with the Dodgers winning, and the Blue Jays have
won 2 in a row.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays have a pretty high payroll, too. Yeah. It is proof, and I think it's disappointing, especially for fans of Detroit, because we don't spend money, and Tariq Skubal, that the teams that spend the most money are going to win the most. If you look at recent MLB champions, you'll kind of see a trend there. And a lot of the franchises that have been stuck in poverty like situations for a while have had that issue of not being willing to spend. So if you go back, Dodgers back-to-back. Rangers beating the Diamondbacks was an exception to the norm. I don't know what their payroll is. You can look it up if you want, the 2023 Rangers payroll while I'm talking. But I don't think it was as high as other World Series winners. Astros were the highest. Braves were one of the highest. Dodgers highest. Astros, Red Sox highest. Again, the Nationals winning was a fluke. Cubs was pretty high at the time. Okay. $251 million in 2023 was pretty high. So if you if you look at the payrolls of World Series winners, you continue to see that you have to spend almost the most money. So if you look at since 1992.
Oh, we're not going to the 1800s?
No,
okay.
No. So the data goes back to 1992. Which, by the way, is when the last time the Blue Jays won the World Series.
I could tell you the 1903 World Series champions.
Okay, so, ready for this?
Go ahead.
First, third, fourth, first, fifth, second, first, eighth. Exception to the rule. 2002 Angels, 2003 Marlins. Second, 13th was the Chicago White Sox. 11th, the Cardinals. Second, 13th, first, 11th, 10th, 6th, 4th, 7th. Royals are the exception, 17th. Cubs, 6th. Astros 17th, which that changed after opening day, so that was higher than you think it is. Red Sox 1st, Nationals 4th, Dodgers 2nd, Braves 14th, Astros 10th, Rangers 9th. Mm-hmm. So really, if you take out like the top 10, Braves, Astros, Royals, Giants were 11th, so practically the top 10. Phillies, White Sox, Marlins. So 7 teams since 1992 are outside the top 11. And for the record, of those teams, Angels never came close to winning one again. Mm-hmm. Marlins, I don't think, won another one. Didn't come close. White Sox didn't come close to winning another one.
So, the Florida Marlins in 97 was led by Jim Leyland, which would eventually become the Tigers.
That's very true. So if you look at it, the teams, right, the Braves were 14th. They haven't won another World Series. The Astros were 17th, but then they won another World Series when they upped their payroll. Mm-hmm. Royals never won another one, never came close. The Phillies didn't win another one. The White Sox didn't win another one. The Marlins didn't win another one, and the Angels didn't win another one. So basically, for the teams that were the exception to the norm, that weren't the highest payrolls, they never came close to winning another.
Okay.
Since 1992. And I think that's a problem. Because
money talks.
Well, other sports have a salary cap for a reason, right? Because they understand.
Even like the MLS, like they have.
Every one of our other major sports in this country, and I mean you can count Canada because obviously the MLS and NHL spill over to Canada and MLB kind of
and NBA.
They really all do a little bit. But they all have salary caps because they understand the problem of big markets consistently outspending small markets and winning. If you go back to that list that I was talking about a minute ago, and you talk about big versus small markets, as in like big versus small cities, mm-hmm. Toronto, huge, Atlanta, New York, Florida, which again is the exception, New York, Arizona, okay, so that's 2 exceptions, Los Angeles.
You were going to sing me a song, New York.
Florida again, so the Marlins winning twice was unprecedented. Mm-hmm. Boston, Chicago, St. Louis, big markets. Boston, Philadelphia, New York, San Francisco, St. Louis, San Francisco, Boston, San Francisco, Kansas City. Remember, that's another one of the exceptions. Houston, which is a pretty big market. Boston, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Atlanta, Houston, Texas again. Rangers aren't as big of a market, so that's 3 exceptions. And then you've got Los Angeles. For the record, if we go to the NHL, which has a salary cap, I'll just use the NHL as an example, you'll see it kind of tells a different story. In terms of, because they have a salary cap, top salaries don't really matter as much, right? Because, they've got that salary cap in place to prevent teams with way higher salaries winning. But if you go back to 1992, Florida, small market. Vegas, big market. Colorado, small market. Tampa, medium market.
Yeah.
St. Louis, Washington, bigger markets. Okay. Pittsburgh, big market. Chicago, big market. Los Angeles, Chicago, Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Detroit. Anaheim, that's a really small market. Carolina, small market. New Jersey, small market. Tampa Bay, small market.
Well, did you say Tampa was medium market?
Ish.
Okay.
There are still a lot of big markets in there, which I think, but the difference that I see is the amount of parity that you get. Florida's won the last 2, both against Edmonton, but they don't look like they're going to win one this year. Vegas got theirs, and then didn't really make it back. Colorado got theirs, didn't make it back. Lightning won back-to-back, but then they were out of the picture after that. Pittsburgh won back-to-back, same deal. So there were a few back-to-back champions, but they really fell off hard. St. Louis was one of the biggest fluke runs of all time. You had a couple for the Blackhawks and the Kings. But point being is there's less of like the dynasty now in the modern NHL, I should say. Obviously, with the 6 teams back in the day, there were a lot dynasties by nature. But there's a lot more parity. You look at the NFL. Yeah, the Chiefs have won a lot of championships, and the Eagles are starting to come on, but there's still a sense of parity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even when Brady was in his prime, still.
Well, I would say about Brady, he was always dangerous.
Well, Brady was the best player in the league, ever.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
It's like if Babe Ruth came back and played for the Dodgers. Yeah, they're going to win some titles. But there's still some sense of parity. You've got Mahomes that's always going to be there. But, you've got, the Eagles winning and the Rams winning and the Bengals making Super Bowls. There's more parity than what you're seeing in baseball, which feels like it's been, the Astros, the Dodgers, you had the Braves mixed in there, but it's been lack of parity. You look at the NBA. NBA, I think, is the best example of parity in that, you had a Red Wings.
The Lakers and the Celtics, they
Right.
Celtics owned the NBA in the 50s.
Right, but then they fixed that problem. They instituted a bigger salary cap, and you saw a lot more parity, right? You go back to 1992, like we had in these other statistics. Portland won, the Bulls. You had the Bulls dynasty.
Yep.
The Rockets, the Bulls. Spurs, Lakers, Spurs, Lakers, Spurs. Mavs, Spurs, Lakers, 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 Mavs. Thunder. Heat. Spurs, Warriors, Cavs, Warriors, Raptors, Lakers, Bucks, Warriors, Nuggets, Celtics, Thunder. So it was a problem, but the last 7 or 8 years, it's become less of a problem. So I think if baseball instituted a salary cap, you would be able to fix a lot of those problems.
You get a lot of opposition from the owners.
Oh, I bet. But
some of the owners.
I just think it's something that baseball needs to do if it wants to save the sport.
I was in a debate with the basketball players about something similar to this. What is the best, not the best player, but the best team? I argued that the best basketball team of all time was the 97-98, either that or the 97-98 or the 96-97 Chicago Bulls. I've always argued that the super team that was made from that with Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman.
I would agree, but
it was the best trio of basketball.
I think there's a couple that could compete with that.
Yeah,
I think
recent Warrior,
LeBron, Bosh, and Dwayne Wade.
Okay,
is up there.
Yep.
I think Parrish, McHale, and Bird.
Yep.
And then I think Johnson, Kareem, and I guess Worthy would be the third.
Okay.
For those teams, you could say anyone.
How about the 2017 Warriors, right?
Steph, Draymond, and Clay are up there. So there's 4 or 5 trios. I think it's really subjective which one of those is the best of all time, because they are in different eras.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most dominant one in their prime had to be either the Bulls or the Warriors.
Okay.
I think
now you got to think of the whole team, not just the trio, not just the.
I'm talking about just the most dominant trio.
And don't forget, what's funny is the backup point guard to the Bulls at the time
was Steve Kerr.
Who's the
championship-winning DNA in him. Yeah,
who's the coach of the Warriors.
Yeah, I think the best trio would be the Warriors. I think the best team, all around.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the Lakers or the Celtics, maybe the Bulls. But I think the best trio in its prime, which it was not that long of a prime, but Steph, Curry, and Draymond in that 6 years when they made 5 out of 6, won 5 out of 6 finals or whatever it was.
And Thompson Clay, yeah.
Yeah. When they were in their prime, that was
and
the
best. They had, I think at the time...
They had some other ballers, too, that came in and out. You had Durant in there.
Kevin Durant.
So... that's an interesting topic of conversation, I think. One thing I want to close on is what happened late last night, the tragic injury to Jaden Daniels, but also the Seahawks cementing themselves as potential championship caliber material was not on my bingo card.
No, it wasn't.
The fact that
what year is it? What year are we in right now?
Exactly. The fact that right now the favorites in the AFC are the Colts, the Patriots, and the Denver Broncos, and in the NFC, the best-looking teams right now are the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Eagles.
Ooh.
Not what I expected, and not great for Lions fans. But what I did want to mention was, at halftime, I cannot believe this. This might be the best first-half stat line I've ever seen.
I'm looking at your phone right now.
From Sam Darnold, by the way, who the Vikings, I'm sure, are regretting getting rid of. 16 for 16 and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I saw
that. Is insane. The Commanders get demolished, and I know a lot of fans were frustrated because Jaden Daniels' injury happened at the end of a game in garbage time. So you could argue it would have been both. But I want to give Sam credit. I want to give Daniel Jones credit. There's been some interesting resurgencies this year. Another thing I want to mention, too, is poor Jackson Dart continues to play great game after great game and lose and lose and lose. I think he's going to be a future stud in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that plays out. I don't have much else. I think we'll talk more about the Pistons and others soon.
Yeah.
But
well, I know on a personal note, I am going to Detroit this week, starting Wednesday. I thought I was going to come back Tuesday, but I'm not. I'm coming back either Saturday or Sunday. So initially the next show could either would have been greatly reduced or canceled. But no, I will be here. I should be here on Monday, but I will be in Detroit for the I think it's the Michigan Association of Broadcasters. I think
that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'll tell you a little bit about it when I get back. But other than that,
keep us posted. Exciting news for me too. This Friday, I'll be traveling with ASMU and Puckheads and I think a couple other student organizations too to Michigan Tech to watch the Michigan Tech NMU game at Michigan Tech. I did it last year. I had a great time. Looking forward to doing it again.
I almost forgot. I will be at a Red Wings game.
Ooh. So it looks like Dom and I will be enjoying some quality hockey in the next couple weeks. We'll certainly keep you posted about that. That being said, that's all for me.
Awesome. Well, that is all for the Jack and Dom radio show, on WPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. We will see you guys again next week.